It's a Tuesday morning. You pour a cup of coffee, open your mailbox, and there it is. A check from the Social Security Administration that is smaller than you expected. Not by a few dollars, but by a few hundred. You call the office, wait on hold for 45 minutes, and finally a representative tells you the decision you made 5 years ago locked you into this lower payment forever. And just like that, you realize a mistake you didn't even know you made is now going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars over the rest of your retirement. The worst part? Nobody told you about it until it was too late. Today, we are going to fix that. I am going to walk you through the 5 most devastating Social Security mistakes that seniors make every single year. Mistakes that quietly drain retirement accounts and slash monthly income, so you can spot them now and protect what you have worked your entire life to build. Before we dive into the first mistake, I want you to think about how you made your claiming decision. Maybe you filed the day you turned 62 because you were excited to finally get something back from a system you paid into for decades. Maybe you had a friend who told you to take the money as soon as possible because you never know what might happen tomorrow. That advice feels warm and protective in the moment, but it is often the very thing that triggers the first big mistake. Claiming Social Security at 62 without running the numbers first. Now, I am not saying claiming early is always wrong. There are situations where it makes perfect sense. If your health is fragile, or you have no other income, those checks can be a lifeline. But here is what most people do not fully understand. When you claim at 62, your benefit is permanently reduced by about 25 to 30% compared to what you would receive at your full retirement age, which, for most of you watching, is either 66 or 67. Let me give you a real-world example. Suppose your full retirement age benefit is $2,000 a month. Claim at 62, and you might only get around $1,400. That $600 difference is not a temporary penalty. It follows you for the rest of your life. Over 20 years, that adds up to over $140,000 in lost income. And if you live into your 90s, which is becoming more common, the loss is even greater. The mistake is not claiming early. The mistake is making that decision without understanding the long-term math. What makes this even trickier is that many people panic when they see headlines about the Social Security Trust Fund running low. They think they have to grab the money now before the system collapses. But even if no changes are made by Congress, the system would still be able to pay around 77% of promised benefits. That is a conversation for another video, but I mention it because fear is a terrible financial advisor. So before you file, sit down and look at your estimated benefits statement. Compare what you would get at 62, at full retirement age, and at 70. If you are married, the calculations get even more important because your decision might affect your spouse's survivor benefit. Taking the time to run these numbers can literally mean the difference between struggling later and living comfortably. Now, let us move to the second mistake. And this one is harder to spot because it is not about what you do, but about what you do not know. Most seniors do not realize that Social Security benefits can be taxed. You heard me correctly. You pay into the system your entire working life. And then when you finally start collecting, Uncle Sam may show up wanting a slice. This catches so many retirees off guard, especially those who have a pension, a healthy IRA, or a working spouse. Here is how it works. The IRS looks at what is called your combined income. That is your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security benefits. If you file as an individual and your combined income is between $25,000 and $34,000, up to 50% of your benefits may be taxable. If it is above $34,000, up to 85% can be taxed. For married couples filing jointly, the thresholds are $32,000 to $44,000 for the 50% mark, and above $44,000 for the 85% mark. I will say those numbers again because they are important, but here is why this becomes a costly mistake. Many seniors withdraw extra money from that IRA to pay for a new roof, a dream vacation, or to help a grandchild, and they accidentally push themselves into a higher bracket. They do not realize that the extra withdrawal is not only taxed as ordinary income, but it also makes more of their Social Security taxable. It is a double whammy. The key to avoiding this mistake is tax planning before December. Work with a tax professional who understands retirement income. Sometimes small adjustments, like pulling money from a Roth IRA instead of a traditional IRA, or bunching deductions, can keep you below the thresholds. Do not wait until April to think about this, because by then the damage is done, and you cannot undo it. The third mistake is one that makes me especially upset because it is so easy to avoid, yet it devastates surviving spouses every single day. I am talking about failing to understand survivor benefit. This is not a pleasant topic. Nobody wants to think about losing their husband or wife, but ignoring it does not make it go away. And the financial consequences for the surviving spouse can be brutal. Here is the scenario I see too often. A husband who was the higher earner claims Social Security early at 62 to get the checks flowing. He passes away at 78. His wife, who is now 76, has been receiving a small spousal benefit or her own modest benefit. She assumes she will just continue getting her check. What she does not realize is that she is entitled to step up to his benefit amount for the rest of her life. But because he claimed early, that survivor benefit is also permanently reduced. That decision he made 16 years ago is now forcing his widow to live on a much smaller check every single month. If he had waited even a few more years to claim, her survivor benefit would be higher and her financial security would be dramatically better. When I talk about this mistake, I urge every married couple to think of Social Security not as an individual decision, but as a household decision. The higher earner's claiming age is not just about their own check. It is a legacy decision that will follow their spouse for the rest of their life. Ask yourself this question. If I am gone, what will my spouse's monthly income look like? If you cannot answer that question with confidence, I need you to make an appointment with a financial advisor or use the tools on the Social Security website to run survivor scenarios. This is not about being morbid. It is about love in action. Taking care of the person you committed your life to even after you are gone. We are halfway through, and I hope you are still with me because this fourth mistake is something that seems so small on the surface but can snowball into a massive headache. It is the mistake of working while collecting benefits before full retirement age without understanding the earnings test. I hear from seniors all the time who say, "I retired. I started my benefits, but then I got bored and picked up a part-time job." That sounds wonderful, staying active and earning a little extra income. But if you are under your full retirement age, the Social Security Administration has an earnings limit in 2025. If you are under full retirement age for the entire year, they will withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn above the annual limit. which is around $22,320. In the year you actually reach full retirement age, the limit is higher, roughly $59,520, and they withhold $1 for every $3 you earn above that, and it only counts earnings before the month you hit full retirement age. Now, here is the part that shocks people. When you file your taxes, Social Security notices you went over the limit, and they send you a letter demanding a repayment. Suddenly, you owe thousands of dollars back, and the monthly checks you were counting on stop coming until the overage is collected. I have seen retirees spiral into panic because they did not set that money aside. The good news is that once you reach full retirement age, the earnings test goes away completely. You can earn as much as you want with no penalty, and the benefits that were withheld are not lost forever. Social Security recalculates your benefit at full retirement age to give you credit for those months, so you do get it back over time. But that does not help you when the bills are due today. If you are thinking about working while collecting, look at the earnings limit for the current year. Estimate your income honestly, and if you are going to exceed it, either adjust your hours or be prepared to set aside a portion of every paycheck so you are not caught off guard. The fifth and final mistake is one that hides in plain sight, and it involves a tool the government actually created to help us. But when used incorrectly, it can lead to devastating consequences. I am talking about misunderstanding the rules around withdrawing your application or using the do-over option. There is a little-known rule that allows you to withdraw your Social Security application within 12 months of filing and pay back all the benefits you received, essentially resetting your claiming age. This is sometimes called the reset button, and it can be a powerful planning tool if you file early because of a health scare that improved, or because you got a new job and no longer need the income. The problem arises when people hear about this option secondhand from a neighbor or a social media video and think they can just change their mind years later. Once you pass that 12-month window, the withdrawal option disappears. The only other way to boost your benefit is to suspend it after reaching full retirement age, but that is a different strategy with its own rules. The mistake is assuming flexibility when it is no longer available. If you filed recently and immediately regret it, do not wait. You have exactly 12 months to act, and you must file Form 521 with the Social Security Administration and repay every dime you and your family received, including Medicare premiums that were deducted. It is a major financial transaction, not a casual phone call. But if done correctly, it allows you to restart the clock and delay for higher benefits. For those of you who have not filed yet, let this be your warning. Do not rush into a decision thinking you can easily undo it later. The window is short, and the process is strict. Now I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. These are all driven by one common thread. They happen because the Social Security system is complex, and the consequences of our choices are often delayed until it is too late to fix them. You do not get a pop-up warning when you file that says, "Caution. This choice may reduce your widow's income by $400 a month for 20 years. You get a confirmation letter and a monthly deposit, and the rest unfolds silently in the background." My goal today was not to scare you into paralysis. It was to give you the knowledge to ask the right questions before you file, or to take action now if you have already filed. If you are still in the planning phase, I encourage you to create a My Social Security account online, download your statement, and model different claiming ages. If you are already receiving benefits, take a hard look at your tax situation and make adjustments before the end of the year. If you are married, have the conversation about survivor benefits. It may be uncomfortable for 5 minutes, but it can protect your spouse for a lifetime. We covered a lot of ground today, and I appreciate you sticking with me. If this video helped you see Social Security in a new light, please take a second to hit the like button. It really does help more people find this information, and I believe every senior deserves to have these facts before making irreversible decisions. And if you want to stay informed on the topics that matter most to your retirement, from Medicare updates to tax changes and smart banking rules, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I would also love to hear from you down in the comments. What is the biggest Social Security question you still have? Maybe you are wondering about divorced spouse benefits, or you heard something about the government pension offset, or you just want to know if you are on the right track. Drop your question below and I read through as many as I can. You have worked too hard and planned too long to let a simple mistake chip away at your golden years. Take control, stay informed, and I will see you in the next video.